You're sitting there at breakfast, mindlessly eating your oatmeal, when you scoop up another bite and suddenly your eyebrow furls instinctually. The muscles in your gut tighten ever so slightly. You stop chewing midway through as a tiny thought flutters across your brain. And in this moment, you have two choices: pull at that thread and see what it unravels, or lean your head down, scoop up another bite, and let the thought disappear into the ether. But this seemingly insignificant moment, it might just be the most important decision of your life. Because the greatest, most influential ideas in the world all begin just like this. A fleeting thought dances across your mind, just hoping to be noticed. But most people dismiss these tiny signals, treating them as distractions rather than doorways. But those subtle nudges, the slight pause, that instinctual eye squint, they're your brain recognizing something meaningful before you consciously process it. You need to imagine these thoughts like tiny seeds that, if planted and nurtured, will grow into a towering forest of transformational ideas. Because the difference between a generic brand and a truly impactful one comes down to innocuous moments just like this. So let's look at three subtle aspects of insight generation that will transform how you build your brand. First, fleeting thoughts need to be given the attention they deserve. Because these little ideas, they need some tender love and care. They're not going to reveal their potential brilliance right away. They need to be massaged and coerced into existence. And the best time to get this process started is in the very moment the idea strikes. Because if you don't capture that fleeting thought, it will fade away, likely forever. This is one of the core reasons why I created the Insight Architecture system, to capture and organize these thoughts and notions so that I can maximize their potential. And there's an interesting side effect here too. Have you ever noticed how your brain seems to generate more ideas once it realizes you're actually paying attention? I mean, it sure feels that way. Since I began capturing them consistently, it's like I've unleashed a monster, as if my brain has now decided it's ready to let a torrent of ideas flow. Second, you need to review all your little ideas collectively, because you're not going to turn that spark into life-changing brand gold while eating your morning oatmeal. You need to mull it over, return to it with intention, and let it bounce off others like a chemical reaction. Bonds breaking, new molecules forming, and even bigger ideas emerging. And this means intentionally reviewing your ideas in an organized way. So I schedule time each week specifically for this purpose. And it represents one of the most impactful ways that I leverage AI as my enthusiastic, always ready to help brainstorming partner. Because if something strikes during one of these reviews, I'll jump straight into an AI brainstorming session and let my experience guide the conversation. And this creates a powerful feedback loop where those initial small signals transform into substantial brand insights that would have never emerged without this deliberate process. Third, remember to trust your gut, to notice more of those little feelings as they arise when reviewing all the others. And as new flashes present themselves, grab onto them and explore with curiosity. Ask why, and why again? I mean, when was the last time you really embraced that childlike curiosity around an idea? By diving deep into these ideas, you can transform even the smallest flicker into a raging fire with the power to transform your brand. Because it's not about the size of the initial idea. It's about your willingness to follow where it leads. And this process, it helps you uncover your unique perspective, which is exactly what makes your brand stand out in a noisy world. Because your specific combination of experiences, expertise, and your way of seeing the world becomes the foundation of a brand that others can't replicate. So, what happens when you integrate these subtle techniques into your daily life? You'll uncover countless ideas that would have otherwise disappeared forever. And when you stack these ideas upon one another, making a mosaic of insightful thoughts, you begin to tap into what makes you uniquely you. Your communication and content will begin to deeply reflect your authentic self because it's built on the smallest building blocks that emerge naturally from your brain. And these tiny insights, they could quite literally change the trajectory of your life and brand. So don't disregard those small signals. They might just lead to your next big shift. That is, if you're paying attention. And as always, thank you for listening. What tiny signal did you notice today that you almost dismissed? Do you have a simple system to capture these fleeting thoughts before they disappear? I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. And if you want help turning your expertise into insight-driven brand growth, visit remotebrand.com to discover how I can help.